What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, I was right in the middle of finishing a Fantastic Four video when my phone started going off in the other room. You guys DMing me one after another about this apparent set photo leak of Wong and Cyclops. And while that's not exactly what's going on, and we do live in a very weird time of AI and Photoshop, we have the photo for you. It's slim pickings, but we're going to break it down because at least one of them looks like they may be in costume. Again, if this photo is real, and it is between Wong and Cyclops, but certainly not in scene. We're breaking it all down, the newest alleged leaked photo of Avengers Doomsday set showing a connection between the Avengers and the X-Men. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, guys, we've been growing again at a breakneck pace. Thank you so much. Whether you've been rocking with the channel for a while or you just found us, if you want to keep up to date with all the Avengers stuff, I would just kindly invite you to hit that subscribe button. It's the number one thing you can do to support the channel. Of course, it enters you for the giveaway if you want. Stick around at the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so first up, the lightest spoiler warning. Not sure why you would click on this video in the first place, but you know, I usually tell you guys to take things with a grain of salt. It's a little different with behind the scenes set photos, so if you don't want any spoilers in any kind of way, or this is going to ruin your Avengers Doomsday experience, now would be the time to back out. Also, as I said during the prologue, there is always a chance that people are just photoshopping stuff or making them with AI, and they're not real, but we cover this kind of stuff at the channel, so we're going to proceed as if they are, and if it gets debunked anyway along the way, well, then it is what it is, and that's why we tell you to take this stuff with a grain of salt. Now, first up, in case I get a copyright claim, I am just going to show the photo for 5 seconds without talking in case I need to remove it after in post. Okay, so first up, we obviously know what we're looking at. That's Benedict Wong and James Marsden, again, if it's real, talking to each other, but certainly not in scene. It's not as though this was grabbed the same way that the Deadpool and Wolverine footage was from while they were actually filming, and we know that because Cyclops doesn't have his visor on, let alone he's not in costume. This is behind the scenes and on the set with the two of them talking. However, given the color and the style of Wong's clothing, it clearly looks like he may be somewhat in costume as either the Sorcerer Supreme or at Camertage, and so while this isn't in scene and just behind the scenes, it looks like perhaps they could be in a scene together, and especially if one of them's in costume and they're talking on the set. That would obviously set up that Wong would be meeting up with the X-Men whenever the X-Men make contact with the Avengers. Now, we know at least one 616 member has been there the whole time to fill them in. That's Monica Rambeau. But we also know from Wong's point of view, and last we saw America Chavez, it looks like she was well on her way to being able to control her power and actually travel the multiverse to the places she wants to be instead of just randomly, which means, and while it may have taken some time, as soon as the word that Monica Rambeau ended up in a different reality would reach Wong and or America Chavez, presumably there would be the ability to go retrieve her. And so I've said the whole time, what would make a lot more sense than an incursion leading them to meet each other is Doctor Doom coming to one of these timelines first, and then we're traveling between them in a sort of a warning system. But even before that would happen, you could literally have word of Monica Rambeau's disappearance finally reaching Wong and Camertage, America Chavez stepping up to say, I know where she went, or I can go look for her. That would connect the X-Men, at least in part, to the semblance of the Avengers that we have now, which best we can tell, and before Sam links with Bucky and brings in the Thunderbolts, right now you've got Wong working with Professor Hulk and Captain Marvel as we saw them present themselves to Shang-Chi. So it could be that those are the very first of the Avengers, quote unquote, or at least the 616 heroes that make contact and establish a connection with Professor X and his X-Men. So instead of getting that Avengers vs. X-Men we all assumed must be coming, it might be a lot more of them basically siding with each other as soon as they make contact, or by the time we pick up an Avengers at Doomsday, it might be even established that America Chavez has been traveling between the two timelines and has opened up connection actually with multiple timelines, not just whatever the mystery number of Monica Rambeau's X-Men timeline is, which to me is so obviously where all of these X-Men are showing up, not as the actual exact 10,005 Fox X-Men timeline that we know Deadpool is in right now, but new variants, just the same actors coming back to play those characters, and it'll definitely have the same effect. So it's an interesting set photo to see these two characters side by side, or at least the actors talking to each other and possibilities, but definitely not in scene. Again, Cyclops doesn't have any sort of visors or protective lenses on, so it's just James Marsden standing there talking to Benedict Wong. But doesn't necessarily mean they're filming a scene together. They could both just be on set. One of them is in costume, the other doesn't look like he's anywhere near it. Now, what I will say is that basically chewing on this the whole time, and since those announcements with the chairs, and thinking about the fact that that's just one part of the announcement, and that is so many actors, we haven't seen some of them in 10 years, so many stories to try to fill everyone in on, and unless the dialogue is just so see-through, and it is just exposition dump after exposition dump where they are just explaining things for the audience, which is what you don't want, it's going to be really hard to mesh all these characters in from different timelines. And so, as I've sort of worked through this in my mind, thinking about how you do that, the way that you do it is to have them share as much of the screen time and experience as possible, so they're all getting filled in at the same time as the audience, so it's not just verbal diarrhea with the dialogue just filling everyone in on things that already happened, but rather us, the audience, is experiencing what's important in real time with the characters themselves, and the more of them that are on screen, the more are going through this experience too. No explanation needed for any of this. That's the way that you do it. And so seeing all of this cast together and thinking that we might be, going to different parts of the multiverse as Doom one by one battles against all of them and breaks them off, that's not exactly going to set up for the most interesting film as far as meshing these characters together, and will do nothing in the way of establishing any relationships for Avengers Secret Wars when they hopefully all fight with each other. So I think Doomsday has the possibility, at least narratively and with the plot, to really be a kind of film that we're not expecting. And if the Russos want to do this right, and again, not just to have it be this basically boring lecture of a film where they're just explaining things the whole time, just pick up with where the story starts and get right into the action. We'll all be in the story together. And look, this isn't a new MO for the Russos. I think this is one of the things they did perfectly in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They just either simply and quickly explained things when needed or skipped over them all together. Yeah, we saw Tony break time travel on screen, but it didn't explain how he put the GPS bracelet. They spent no time with that at all. It also didn't show us how he constructed the Infinity Gauntlet or any of the explainers for that. It's much easier to just do that off screen, not explain anything, and focus on what's going on. Then again, when we get to Secret Wars, you don't have to do any explaining either, because what we're focusing on is what just happened in Doomsday, what the audience watched, what the characters went through, and it's not just a boring exposition dump explaining all these things that happened in the past. And that's why I think there's a likelihood that when we jump into Avengers Doomsday, the X-Men and the Avengers might know each other, those two timelines might communicate, and more than that, they might not even explain how it happened. It will just pick up with the assumption that at some point they made contact and have been working together. That's it. No explainer. It's already been done, and we're right into the action. And honestly, it might be the only way forward, something that they did really well with Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. But we've got plenty of time to talk about that as a possibility for how they're going to shoot this film and do these scenes. And it'll be interesting to see as we do learn more about what scenes they've got and how this film plays out, whether or not that's how they choose to go. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. How hype are you for Avengers Doomsday? Remember to hit the sub button and leave a comment down below to be entered for the PS5s. The next giveaway is next week for the finale of Daredevil. Remember to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with these videos. And of course, if you like today's video, hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on all platforms with original music under the name Allfires. I just dropped a brand new drum and bass single with KJ Saga. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link down in the description in the comments. Really appreciate you supporting my music. Sincerely appreciate you supporting the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.